Next, we're going to move on to. All right, we'll be starting with Lord Mateus on this one, and we're going to be talking once again about the sandbox style versus the railroad style, the appeal of each style. So you, as the dirty fence sitter, the Mr. Hybrid man, what do players generally find appealing about the sandbox style of gameplay?
Well, obviously, everyone take a shot, player agency, and the freedom to kind of do what they want. I think really good players will have goals that they set out for their character, and they'll go and pursue those goals. We've talked about also like the fun expectation, or excuse me, the lack of expectation, the uncertainty of what's going to happen. And I just kind of wrote down like a little thought thing here when I was going over these questions, and it's just like the sense of adventure and discovery. As a player, I like that in a sandbox game or like a West Marches style game. And as a game master, I like that. We have no idea what's going on. We're literally on adventure. It's like when I grew up in the countryside, I'd grab my little wooden sword when I was a kid, and I just go hiking out and just to see what's out there. And I sort of feel like the sandbox is just like that. So that's what I think is appealing, that sense of adventure and wonder, and like just going to explore the world, whether it's a no prep style, just where you're literally rolling everything as you go, or what I like to do is just generate the map and everything on there and the lore and just let the players discover it. You know, that's what I think the big appeal is for me.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask the follow-up because he actually answered it. So Heathen, what do players generally find appealing about the sandbox? So again, I know you're on the other side, but what's the appeal?
As a player, I would use the sandbox to pretty much do what at least half of players in my experience want to do. That is, raise my character up. Have my character have experiences and tribes and tribulations. So my story is the most important story. That's the appeal of a sandbox. If I were a player, it can be my story. That's it.
Okay. All right. That question wouldn't be for you. I've been waiting for this one for you. Can you provide an example of a time when the sandbox style led to an unexpected but enjoyable outcome in a game that you either game master or you were played in?
Actually, yes. I was a player in a sandbox game. This was when I was 17, and there was one character who kept going off on his own, trying to convince us to all, we can let's go right over here. Like, oh, we don't need to go through step 1, step 2, step 3. We can go straight to step 4. And I'm like, yeah, we can, but it's a bad idea. We're not stupid. And he's like, I'll prove it to you. I'll just go over here. He did it, and he got wrecked. He got absolutely wrecked. He actually got a whole town burned down because of his stupid actions. And we were all like, dude, what the? We told you this is going to happen. I know. I'm sorry. I had the most fun doing that because I got to admonish one of those selfish players that love sandboxes. I got to admonish them so bad. I'll head down and, oh, I'm sorry. You're like, oh, how many women and children did you get killed? Oh man, don't make it like that. Like, that's what you did. That's what you did. Little Susie's dead because of you. Aww.
And that's the magic. That is the magic.
That's the magic. Susie's dead. Let's have a parade. No, that's not what happened. That's not what happened. Because of what he did, because he went off the reservation. He went off the reservation. He was a part of our group. We got colored with the same brushes that made his wanted poster.
Magic.
Magic.
You're getting it.
Calamity is what it was. We used to go from town to town. We were heroes, man. We go to town to town. We get free beers. Girls would like follow us around. It'd be great. We were pimping. And then stupid butthead Bob over there goes, no, I can go straight to the end and we just win the day. He got wrecked. He got the whole town wrecked. He got our reputation wrecked. And now when we go to a town, they're like, oh, you're those guys.
Can you read the
And now you
comment on
have
the
a
screen?
story, and now you have obstacles to overcome that came organically.
Obstacles. These are unforced errors in gameplay. I hate those.
Mhm.
So
I hate those a lot.
can you please read the comment on the screen?
This coming from the guy that nuked a whole town.
The Rifts game.
Oh, the Rifts game. Yeah. Well, I was actually trying to save our lives, nuking the town, because I knew that, I don't know how to explain this to you, Nerdy Ogre.
Yeah,
You were there. I saved your life.
We're going to move on.
To save us.
It's just funny because the story you told was I was thinking the same thing he was. But all right, let's hit Sean for this question, because remember, everybody has to answer it. So what do players generally find? I'm sure you're going to have a different take on this. What do players generally find appealing about the sandbox style of gameplay?
Everything Heathen Dog just said with his anecdote is exactly it. The unexpected, the calamity that shapes the story, that shapes the character. The characters now have a story. They have an obstacle. You want to talk storytelling? Storytelling is embracing conflict. You created with that story the idea of these guys living the life. They're heroes because of one asshole. You are now dealing with a besmirched reputation, and that's something you have to overcome. And that was organic. That was beautiful. That's the kind of thing that really makes sandbox style sing, and just letting things play out, because it wasn't pre-scripted.
Before you continue, I'm going to go to the end of that particular campaign. He was booted out. He was voted off the island.
Well, that's unfortunate. But what
was it because of that though?
Yeah, it was because of stuff like that.
Well, see, that's unfortunate, but you also do have to have players who embrace it, like a fellow team that can embrace it. Like, I've played with people who they love it. The shenanigans are like, you did what? Now what are we going to do? Right. And the banter and the argument between characters in character, not players going, what the fuck, but the characters. And that's where it really shines when these situations come up because of your choices. And now you have conflicts to resolve because of the choices that have nothing to do with the DM, on top of whatever else you're doing. That's fantastic. That really makes the game sing. But you have to be into it. You have to let it. You can't take it personal. You have to embrace it. But it's really gold. It really is.
Okay. Go ahead.
He likes adversity. I'll give it to him. It's a way to go.
Now, I will say though, when you get a problem player who likes to cause trouble, but they don't like it when there are consequences. Well, that's somebody who's got to go, right? Yep. You've got to be able to, you've got to be mature enough to play the situation, play the role. How would the character react, and all that sort of thing. And all of that is part of the fun. But yeah, if you got a player who's causing shit to cause shit, then he's out. That's different than embracing the sandbox and the chaos of decision making.
So one of the complaints, and it might be completely misplaced. So Sean, this follow-up's for you. And it might be a completely misplaced response. It's something I know I feel if I'm not exactly right about it. It's my kind of my aversion to the pure sandbox style play, is how do you use the sandbox style to create a sense of immersion and verisimilitude and exploration for your players?
It just comes, when you get a group of players sitting at the table and they're in conference mode, in character, saying, well, hey, I've got a map here that leads to this, but hey, that takes us through the swamp where the lizard men are. Are we ready for that? No, let's try this over here. Oh, wait, the Lord over there's put a bounty on bandits. Let's try that. I think we can handle it. And they're already immersed because they're discussing their options, and they'll often do it in character. Like I've got 2 paladins in one group, and when one person says, you know what, there's this asshole here, let's go drag him out and beat him. We got a chaotic good thing. Let's beat this guy. And the lawful paladins are going to say, no, let's apprehend him and take him to the justice, that kind of thing. And then they get into character debating the course of action. So it just comes while they're making their plans about what they want to do.
Okay. Anything you guys want to say on just that generic question of generally find appealing about sandbox style gameplay before we read some chat and then move on?
What Sean just said is more for segment 3. For my response is more for segment 3.
No, that's great, because I want to have a good discussion there as well. All right, so I'll hit this chat here. I don't think I started anything normal. I just the super chats were. There it is. So DM James, sorry, the great Yakubian. I don't know what that means. It better not be a slur, sir. Says $2. He said, "Why not both?" But I didn't catch what that was for.
I'm gonna assume it's Sandbox and Railroad. Why not both?
Okay.
And you're hey, there he is, right over there.
Yeah, well, I mean, the way I'm listening to you guys, I'm both. I'm in the middle.
Yeah, right there. These two guys.
Because I like it when people go off the rails at the same time. I don't like it when they go off the rails so much where they're, where I have to completely come up with something brand new every damn time because they're like, "Oh, can we ruin it this time?" But I think, Sean, you addressed that point there just a moment ago, where it's like, if the players are intentionally being disruptive, go, yeah. And then the Revenge of Karen Dog. I guess that was towards you, Heathen Dog, but I don't know what you did to become a Karen.
I don't know. I don't
Damn,
know.
James, come on, man.
I didn't see that pop up when it popped up, so I don't know what I was talking about at the time.
But thank you for the $2 super chats, DM James. Again, there's a lot of other comments that are going on in chat. Respect you guys, but we've got to move on. It's a great conversation y'all having. Keep it up. But we're going to move on to the next question. I forgot who I'm on. It doesn't really matter. I'm just going to start because look at Heathen Dog. Actually, I will because it's Railroad. You get the first go at Railroad. So what did players generally find appealing about Railroad style of gameplay? And you're speaking for everybody now, sir. Every gamer ever is going to believe what you said.
Great. I love it. Yeah. The appealing part of Railroad for a player is the fact that they understand that as long as they work together and all of them go toward the same goal, they are going to go through all of the content that the game master has for them. They're going to get the entire scenario as it's supposed to be, and a lot of times that's more fun than going off and making up crap on your own. And as the GM, the fun of the Railroad. I know you only said players, but I'm gonna go GM too, because just like Mateus said, and Sean actually said it too, I think the GM is a player as well. He's at the table. It's important for him to have fun. The game master put all this preparation in for a Railroad game, a Railroad-ish game. There's preparation involved. And the satisfaction of the players going through all the things that he had prepared is fun. I mean, it's the culmination of all of his hard work. So, it's going to be fun on both sides. And the players understand. They have an understanding with the game master. This is we spoke about this before. If you're running a module and the players know you're running a module and they purposefully go off module, well, they're breaking the pact with the table. We all agreed to play this module. Why are you not playing this module? So if you stay in the bounds, stay with the bumpers, stay in your lane, we'll all have fun getting to the pins together. And all of the players understand that's what we're all going for. That's where we're going to end up. And it's more likely that we're going to have a good time rather than a hard time.
Would you say that what you're saying can be summed up, and I don't mean you have to be succinct, but just like theoretically summed up, as it kind of provides a sense of accomplishment?
Yeah, for both sides. I mean, all of the game master's hard work is paying off, and all of the players' trust in the game master and the game is going to pay them dividends.
Okay. So I'm going to skip Sean. I'm going to have him do this last because he's on the opposite side of this. I'm going to go to Lord Mateus on this first. What do players generally find appealing about the railroad? Oh my God, I cannot talk. Style of gameplay.
Well, I'm gonna agree with Heathen Dog there. I do think it gives a sense of accomplishment. And let's face it, I won't use some of the more pejorative terms that Heathen Dog used to describe players, but players do like being front and center of a story, and they get to be that movie hero. They get to be, the Dragonlance heroes, the heroes of the Lance. They get to do that. But I'd also think, though, I mean, the Railroad can help the passive players who like the game. They're just not very, for lack of a better term, good at like the sandbox style, or good at sort of taking the reins, they get to play, and they get to do something that's cool in this sort of style of campaign. So I think that's like a subtle benefit. Like
That's
those
a good
passive,
one. That's a good one. I like that.
yeah, those passive
Yeah.
players get to participate.
Well,
in
I wouldn't even
things
call
that
them
are cool.
passive. I would call them, you know, personally less brave or
Introverts.
yeah. Well, no,
There you go.
it's just not as extrovert as someone else possibly at the table whose normal real life personality can overpower the gameplay if it's allowed to.
Yeah.
But if you have a railroad style, just like Matea said, then it allows those quieter players to still have a good time and have their character come into their own without having to constantly work on their extroverted personal skills all the time, which they're probably in therapy for anyway. It's not working there, it's not going to work here. So yeah,
Right.
the railroad allows those people to shine as well. That I didn't even think of that. That's a good one.
I don't agree. I don't necessarily agree with that point. I think that's on the DM, like that, regardless of Sandbox Railroad. It's part of that is the DM to help them along and help give them their moment. So that can be managed either way.
That's funny because I hear about that more in the railroad style, but I'm not gonna change topic here. So, Sean, the question now is for you because you're on the other side. So, in your experience, what do players generally find appealing about the railroad style of gameplay?
The compact, complete story. Like you can get your story done in that set number of times or session or whatever, and when it concludes, you've got that story. So the closure, I guess that's the word I'm looking for. The closure of it, I think, is the appeal. Shit, sorry, my table is wobbling.
It's an earthquake.
Yeah, it's a fold-out table and it's 10 years old, so the legs kind of tilt, so sometimes it leans. Yeah, I think the closure there for my part, I found, you've got the complete story. So one thing that can be frustrating is when you leave off a session and things are unresolved and you never get back to it. How many of you have had that? And it's kind of annoying. It's like, oh, we didn't finish that adventure. We didn't whatever. So when you have the railroad and you've pushed it to its conclusion, you've got that closure, and I think that does have a level of appeal.
Okay. So my follow-up is for you, and I'm going to kind of do to you what I did to Heathen Thug, which is, can you provide an example of a time when the railroad style allowed for a dramatic and memorable moment in your game?
Oh, there have been a couple over the years. I used to be pro railroad, 100%. I would sit and write the stories and plan out the beats, and my players would completely go off script. But I think years ago when I played Rifts, this is about 30 years ago, I had this massive arc. I used the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. I had this massive arc, and I was running 2 groups at the time, both with 7 players, and then we had this big. When they went after war, they had this big merging, so we brought all 14 players together at one table, and then they had this big brawl, and it was this massive epic finale. Half the group died, but they were like, yes, we did it, we beat war, right?
And if you want to find out more about the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, you can watch his coverage of Rifts Africa in the Legion of Myth library that we've got. So, no, that's cool. So I do want to move this on, but is there anything that you guys wanted to counter, discuss, or add to in terms of either the railroad or sandbox style in terms of the appeal of them?
No, I think we said all the things we should say.
Okay. I just want to make sure that there's nothing left on the table before we move on. So, all right. So the next segment is going to be the challenges of each style. So we just covered the appeal. Now we're going to go into the challenges. But before we do that, let me hit the super chats here. So thank you for the sticker, the great Yakubian. I'm just going to call you DM James. Thank you very much. You can't see the sticker on the screen, but it was of a dude with his mouth open and 2 hearts. I don't know what that means. I think he's hitting on me. But so DM James says, dog is out of line, but he is right. So I don't know how you can be out of line, but right at the same time.
Right at the same time. Hey, it's a sandbox world.
There you go. And then he says, I'm always awestruck by how handsome Sean is.
That is something.
Yeah, with my humidity hair.
Thank you very much, DM James. I really do appreciate you.
Thanks, James. All
right, so let me throw this on the screen. So The charity we support is the Wounded Warrior Project, a national nonpartisan organization whose mission is to honor and empower wounded warriors. Please refer to the video's description for the link to where you can make your hopefully tax-deductible donation. If you enjoy this discussion, please like this video and subscribe to all the panelists' channels, which I hope you can find in the description as well.